By the end of my speech, the audience will be opposed to the March to Stop Execution and supportive of continuing capital punishment. Did you know that according to Nancy Schilling, who is a corrections expert from CBO, on average it costs $58.64 a day to house an inmate? That calculates out to be almost $22,000 a year out of our taxpayers' dollars per jail inmate. Capital punishment is a benefit to our nation in several ways, including to help to minimize the everlasting effects that criminals can place on our communities. I myself am an avid supporter and researcher of capital punishment. I will discuss the benefit of continuing to keep capital punishment as a consequence for the offenders that endanger our community and our nation, and such as financial burdens it places on our nation. I will first discuss why it is a problem to our nation to eliminate capital punishment. Currently, our nation is in recession, and we have a lot of financial shortcomings. We are dealing with the housing market going down, foreclosures. Our government is struggling to keep up with its financial debts that we owe, and currently we have a lot of overcrowding in our prisons. If we were to eliminate capital funding, that would cause for more crowding in prisons, which means that more taxpayers' dollars will go to supporting inmates in our prison system. So we would be paying for more citizens or more criminals to be in our jails, and we would also be contributing to the overcrowding of our prisons. According to CDC, overcrowding is dangerous for the prisoners, for the correction officers, and for the public. There are several people who are affected by the capital punishment, or by capital punishment being eliminated. Taxpayers would be heavily affected. We pay for the inmates to be housed. We're paying for their meals, their housing, their clothing, and things such as that. And that would just increase the taxes that we pay already. I don't know about you, but I know that I do not want my taxes to increase any more than currently they are. Hickman says taxpayers will also have to pay many millions of dollars to upgrade older prisons and to comply with court orders demanding that the correction of conditions so abysmal that they violate inmates' constitutional rights. According to the Chronicle staff writers, the consequences that would come out of getting rid of capital punishment is our nation will continue to struggle with the growing problem of inmates spending our money unnecessarily. I will now discuss why it is beneficial to keep capital punishment in place in order to lower our financial burdens. If we keep capital punishment and we disregard the March to Stop Execution, we will eliminate further economic troubles. Basically, we will stop adding to any financial problems that the United States is currently having. According to Stephen Goldberg of City College, one who supports capital punishment can foreclose further discussion by asserting that an eye for an eye must be taken for an eye even if the taking of an eye does not deter anyone any lesser penalty. The solution to this problem is basically that we're going to remedy and prevent any unnecessary funding to prisons, and we are going to alleviate some of the overcrowding issues. If we stop wasting taxpayers' dollars that can go to better places and better types of funding, and that'll prevent further national turmoil. If we continue with what works and is very affordable, capital punishment is a lot cheaper than it would be to house an inmate who doesn't deserve to be there anyways because he took someone else's life. And if it causes for the elimination of funding to frivolous means. I will now discuss what actions are needed to be in place to ensure that these benefits are reaped. We first have to discredit organizations such as the March to Stop Executions. They are totally against capital punishment, but there are way more pros for capital punishment staying in place than there are cons. I believe that a person who has killed someone should be in that same position that they put that person in. We need to review the tax dollars that we currently pay and see where all of our money is going, and see that a lot of the funding is going unnecessarily to prisons for people who don't deserve to be funded. And we must support our nation's choices to protect capital punishment and its positive outcomes. Our nation is struggling to keep our head above water and our prisons in safe and reasonable conditions. In order to ensure that we protect our country's needs, we must continue to implement capital punishment in our penal system. The old saying goes, if it's not broke, don't fix it. This is the perfect statement that suits our country to a T. It alleviates spending our taxpayers' dollars on giving meals and boarding to people who simply don't deserve it, and it's a method that we shouldn't question because it works. Oh my God! Are you serious?
I tried pushing stop.